Hello, DIY Woodworker here again. Want to just make a little short clip here to apologize to those of you that have been looking at my videos, and especially the last one I took. I know I said I was going to show you in the video how I cut the grooves and the tongues on my router on the wood, but I got so involved in what I was doing and trying to pay attention to what I was doing, I didn't even bother looking at the camera and not realizing that what I was doing was not in the shot. Basically, all you saw was me pushing a big piece of wood across something that was making a lot of noise. I apologize for that. I've got to cut the other grooves and tongues in the other cabinet, so when I film that, I will make sure that I've got a picture of my router in the frame, and that video, and I'm actually videoing the router doing the work. I've got to cut a groove here in this middle shelf that goes on this 36-inch cabinet, so I will video that as I'm doing that here in a little bit. Also, I wanted to mention that looking at my videos, I want you to understand that I'm not a professional video photographer. I'm a very amateur photographer, and I don't have the most expensive equipment in the world. Matter of fact, the camera I'm filming this with is the camera my daughter bought me as a Christmas present. So it works. It's got autofocus and there's a big super zoom lens and all that on it. It's an XS40. It's a Photoshop SX40 HS, which works fairly well. You'll notice too in some of the films that it seems like the focus is moving in and out, or the aperture is opening up and closing because it kind of fluctuates up and down. That may be the camera. I don't know. It may be the poor lighting I have in my garage. I'm working with temporary lighting. If you haven't noticed, I've got a couple of lamps from inside the house plus one overhead fluorescent. I need to put up more fluorescence, and I will do that here in a little while. And thirdly, I mentioned that I was going to cut all my pieces oversized and then cut them on my saw, but I haven't done that because, you know, I told you in a previous video about me getting that 40-tooth saw blade for my circular saw, and using my circular saw and my circular saw guide that I showed you that I built. I've been getting such good cuts on the plywood that I haven't seen the need for cutting them on my saw. And I'll continue to do that. Matter of fact, I probably won't even use my saw for any of the cutting. I think I'll use my circular saw and my saw guide. It's just giving me such good clean cuts. I don't need to do the other. So that explains why I'm not doing that. Okay, I'm going to end this video, and I'm going to shoot another one here in a minute showing me cutting the groove in the underside of this middle shelf, because I'm going to make a tongue on the support that goes up underneath that shelf, and just like everything else, the tongue and groove will go together and give tremendous strength and add great support to the back side of that shelf. And one more thing, I know I told you on my face frame that was the only place that I'd use pocket hole screws. Well, that's not exactly true either. I had thought of tongue and grooving these shelf supports into the cabinets, but that would require me cutting a full-length groove in the cabinet side, and I didn't want to do that. So where I'm using these shelf supports underneath these shelves, I will be using pocket hole screws on the side of the cabinet to connect that shelf support to the cabinet side. So just want to make a little clarification. So we will see you on the other side shortly. Okay, here we go. Off camera, I've gone ahead and set up my router. I put my groove bit in. I put my safety guard on here, and you'll see that this holds the plywood against the fence and holds it up and helps me hold it up. Once I turn this on and my router is going to start up, I'll go ahead and cut this groove, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. if you can see that or not, I'll bring it up here a little closer. This groove's cut right up through here. Now that'll be on the bottom side of the shelf. I'm going to cut a 4-inch plywood, piece of plywood, and put a tongue on it, and it'll fit in this groove, and it'll be the back support for this shelf so it doesn't sag from the weight. That'll be the only support it'll have. Now it'll have the side support on the side from the shelf supports I put on. But that's how I basically cut these, and it's how that works, and so that's what you missed the other day. I know it's really exciting stuff, but that's how it works. So, okay, I just wanted to show you that short clip, cutting this. Now when I get to cutting the other cabinet, there'll be a whole lot more when I cut the tongues on the shelf supports. I'll show that to you also, and then I'll assemble this all together. Until then, this is the DIY woodworker. I had to remember who I was. We'll talk to you later. Hello there, the DIY woodworker here. I'm hand holding my camera simply because my tripod messed up. Pulling the leg out and it just come all the way out, and there it is. So I've got a 2-legged tripod that don't work too good. You buy cheap, you get cheap. That's all I can say about that. But that being the case, we'll put this back over here. I will send that back to Amazon and see if I can get my money back. In the meantime, I've basically completed my box here, what am I trying to say, my cabinet. You can see I've put these 3-inch pieces here, and on the bottom to give the shelf support. Now those are glued, tongue and grooved all the way down here, glued in, and made this extremely strong. It'll hold my weight up, and I'm quite heavy if you hadn't figured that out already. Now on the front, the only places I put a screw in here, but I don't think that's going to hold. I might come and put a little brace underneath there and screw and glue that in, but that's it for now. There it is. One shelf cabinet. The bigger cabinet will have 2 shelves in it, but they're roughly 24 inches deep and 6 feet long. Now all I have to do is to decide if I want to put 2 small 18-inch doors here approximately on the front, or 2 large 30-odd inch doors. I'll make that decision later. Right now I'm leaning to going toward 2 doors, but then that's double the work, so we'll just have to see how that pans out. But anyhow, that's all I've got for tonight. So I'll hold this out here and try to get my face in it. But there's the cabinet, there's the top all the way down. You can see that. It's going to be a big cabinet. Now that's going to mount over here on this wall underneath the rail there where the garage door goes up. See that kind of purple tape up there? That'll be the top of the cabinet there. And if I measured right and did everything right, when I mount that up there, the garage door will still have clearance to go up, and I'll have 4 feet of clearance underneath it, so I can roll stuff like my router cabinet, workbench table, other things that I want to put up there. They'll go on there. So this is a real professionally done video here. I hope you can appreciate the fact that I'm flying on a wing and a prayer here. But anyhow, I wanted to show this finished cabinet as far as finished as it is right now. And hopefully the mistakes I made on this one I will have learned from and won't make them on the next one. But time will only tell about that. So for now, that's all I have. See you on the other side. So this is the DIY woodworker. We'll talk to you later.